Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another video here. Make sure y'all subscribe. This is another video I'm doing. I just got done running, so bear with me a little bit. I'm just trying to catch my breath, but this was just something I wanted to talk about real quick. My thoughts on Deontay Wilder and trainer Mark Breland. Well, looks like last night I found out that Deontay Wilder, he let Mark Breland go. It was said that he fired the former trainer, and somebody had told me, well, he had already kind of said that after he threw in the towel after that round. As soon as he went back to the corner, he was already saying that he was going to let Mark Breland go. But my thoughts on that, man. Well, first off, it was always said that Deontay Wilder said to all of his trainers, all of his corner, that they have an agreement to never throw in the towel, no matter what kind of danger he's in. Never throw in the towel, let him go out on his shield. But my thoughts on that is, that's the warrior's heart, but that's what a corner is for. The corner is there to help you find that balance, because deep down you're supposed to have that get up and get it mentality, that killer instinct. But it's up to the corner to, like I said, they kind of balance that out for you. They're there to say, hey man, there's more to fighting. I mean, we want to train you, we want to train you and prepare you for a fight, but we want to make sure you can go home at the end of the day. We want to make sure that you're okay and you can make it home to your family, because boxing is a big part of your life, of course, most of these fighters, but they still have a life outside of this sport. The trainers know that you have a wife, you have kids, you have a wife, you have kids, so they're trying to make sure that, okay, if you can't win the day, we can throw in the towel today, we can go back home and we can work on things. We can live the fight another day. But it's important that you and your trainer see eye to eye on that. I don't really agree with having that type of agreement that, you go in there and say, hey man, if I look like I'm about to die, just let me die. No, man, like, what kind of relationship is that you have with your trainer? What kind of relationship is that you have? Because a trainer-fighter relationship, I've always said, it's supposed to be more than just business. It's supposed to be more than just, hey, 5 a.m., let's hit the mitts. 6 a.m., let's spar. 7, let's run. See you later. Let's go home. At the end of the day, we go home and I'll see you tomorrow. Punch out, punch in, punch out. It's not that type of relationship. I feel like a trainer in a fighter relationship has to be kind of like a father or big brother to you. You have to know that person. You have to know how far they'll go. I remember Bomac said about Terrence Crawford in an interview that, sometimes Terrence Crawford, he can tend to exceed himself. He can tend to be the last one in the gym and try to overtrain or go hard. So Bomac have to say, hey man, you're done. You've done enough. He's the one there that's saying, hey, you've done enough for today. It's like the cup overflowing. You got to know when to pull that thing and say, okay, it's done. It's done boiling. So it's good to have that trainer there. A trainer can never just say, I'm gonna let you die in the ring. What is that? What kind of care is that? Because a trainer has to care about you. And with that being said, Mark Breland, to me, I think he made the right choice to throw in the towel. At that moment when I first saw it, my first reaction was, why did he throw it in then? Why was the fight stopped right then? Because at first I thought I saw a glimpse in Deontay Wilder's eye, but then when I saw the replay, I was like, maybe not. I was like, that was a good stoppage. But even before that point, I said, hey, if they would have thrown the towel in maybe like round 4 or 5 or 6, I would have been glad, because even on my breakdown, my post-fight reaction, what did I say? I said Deontay Wilder was sloshing around on his feet, and he was really in there with a dangerous, prepared opponent, So that's another thing that Mark Breland was looking at. You got to remember, Mark Breland, he's a former gold medalist in the Olympics. He's a former champion, So what good is it to have a former champion in the ring if you're not really going to take his word for what's going on or take his eye for what he sees? He saw his fighter in trouble, and he knows Deontay Wilder. He knows Deontay Wilder's a killer and a warrior, and he's one of the best heavyweights in the world. So if he stops a fight, he knows that there's something really, really wrong. He has that eye. He saw his fighter in trouble. He saw his fighter maybe about to really get himself, damaged in long term or about to die. That's how I saw it in there. I saw it in those rounds that, Deontay Wilder was really rendered helpless. If you look at 3, 4, and 5, he was really just going through the motions of just standing. It was really tough for him to stand. He was never even loading up a big punch. Like, I think if he was still maybe swinging one or two, three, wild shots here and there, maybe Mark Breland would have let the fight keep going because he would have known he had a puncher's chance. But Deontay Wilder didn't even have the puncher's chance after round 4. He was no longer swinging. Like I said, he was just having trouble standing. So just imagine how Mark Breland felt looking at his fighter in the ring. He was like, man, my fighter, he's just having trouble. He's bleeding from the ear. He's bleeding from the mouth. Who knows how much damage was done on the body, if he's bleeding on the inside. So, he's really like, man, I'm really pushing it, giving him these rounds. So he was probably really like, scared himself or really beating himself up for even giving him rounds 4, 5, and 6, so finally he was just like, yo, I'm throwing the towel in. And of course, like, his head trainer, Jay Diaz, he didn't really even back. To me, I felt like he should have backed Mark Breland up at the post-fight. He said that it was Mark Breland that threw in the towel, but I would just say, hey, I agreed with him, or I would just say, hey, it was on all of us, it was on all of us, instead of letting him get targeted like that. Because if they're all in one corner, then after that, you got to say, hey, we all had an agreement. I got his back, man. He did right. Don't come at him like that. Because, if Jay Diaz, was kind of real with the whole corner at this point, he probably should have said to me, in my opinion, he probably should have said, yo, don't fire Mark. It was on me. If you're going to fire him, fire me too. If you really stand for the corner, you would have said something like that. But that's just my opinion on that. But all in all, I feel like Mark Breland, he made the right choice. Again, I'm not bashing Deontay Wilder or anything like that. In the heat of the moment, whenever things are going down for people like this, especially the devastating, dramatic loss like this, everybody's kind of ready to point the fingers. That's just a natural thing. There's always what are them stages? Even like when you lose somebody, it's like anger, guilt, paranoia. Acceptance is the last thing, but you know what I'm talking about. But I just kind of feel like that's what Deontay Wilder, he's going through emotionally right now. He was like, yo, there's got to be somebody to blame on why I lost. It's either the suit, the costume, which I'll talk about later. But he's like, yo, why'd you throw in the towel? I'm getting ready, So I think when he comes to his senses after a few days, maybe after a week, and he actually looks at the fight himself, then he'll probably say, yo, Mark, I'm sorry, which I'm hoping he says, because Mark Breland, like I said, it's good to have a guy like that in his corner. Something else I'm going to talk about in another video, though, is that he probably needs to add another trainer or two in his corner. But as far as somebody that was really looking out for his well-being, Mark Breland is somebody he should keep in that corner. Shout out to Mark Breland, like I said, for saving the guy. There's a lot of people out there that were fearful of Deontay Wilder's life. I'm a fan of him. I was worried about him as well, because he was really getting beat bad in there. Of course, his mind was still in enough control to try to say that he was all right. But sometimes the mind and your physical, the mind and the body don't necessarily always click. They're not always in sync. So if your body's already beat up and shut down, your mind still wants to keep going and your heart wants to keep going. Sometimes they'll say, they can keep going. But sometimes the brain is out of it and the heart wants to keep going. So unless everything's in sync, then you can keep going. But if your brain and your mind and your heart aren't in sync, if your brain and your body aren't in sync like that, it can cost you. And I think that, again, Mark Breland, he saw that. He saw the body was gone. The heart was there. The heart kept Deontay Wilder standing. That's what kept him standing in that fight. But he said, yo, the body's gone, so I got to stop it. I just got to stop it. But to me, he made the right choice. But, yeah, man, let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Like I said, that was just my thoughts right off top. I'm just freestyling it because I've just been kind of thinking about it on my run. I was just thinking about the whole situation. And like I said, I'm not mad at Deontay Wilder, but I think he should just kind of go back and think about what he's doing right now. It's a devastating loss. I think it would happen to anybody. It happens to the best of them. So before he, gets rid of somebody like Mark Breland, makes such a big career move for him, in such a, who knows how this would affect him financially. I think he should really sit down and talk with him, or just, take it back and keep him, because there's a lot of other things that cost him this fight. And it just wasn't Mark Breland throwing the towel in. But, yeah, that's all I got on this, guys. Let me know how y'all feel about it in the comment section. Like I said, I'll probably make some more videos on this, just as far as, like, technical things, as far as skills and trainers for Deontay Wilder. But, yeah, man, that's all I got, guys. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.